Sunday Surefire Podcast. I'm your host, the Commish. Joining me today is the co-host, Aaron Downtown Brown,
Hey, hey.
and the other co-host, Ethan Weaver.
Kamish, how we doing?
Doing good, boys. Doing good. We have Thanksgiving Day football to talk about today. Thanksgiving, as we know, one of the best holidays on the calendar. I'd argue it is the best holiday on the calendar. You got family, you got friends, you got football. What else could you need? The holidays season is officially here, and with that, I mean, holidays can be a little stressful. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra money in your pocket to make ends meet with Christmas and Hanukkah and all that stuff coming up. So like, let's just get some money in your pocket here tonight, folks. We're talking some DFS captains lineup in a Thursday. I'll say an expanded Thursday night field, where usually we talk about one game going on Thursdays. There's three Thanksgiving Day football games to discuss, and so we'll do that. We'll talk to you about the DraftKings salary cap lineups that they run each and every week. This field's a little bit bigger for, like I mentioned, there's more games going on, and then we'll talk about one parlay that each of us have for Thanksgiving Day that we think can put some more money in your pocket, folks. So buckle up. Let's dive into it. As always, we start with our bullish buys, which are the expensive players that are worth paying up for. Ethan, lead us off, brother. Who are you paying up for on this Thanksgiving Day?
I'm paying up for Josh Jacobs at a price point of $7,000. He's just been an absolute workhorse this year. Miami allows the third most points per touch to running backs. Jacobs has cleared 75 yards in the last 5 games, 6 touchdowns in the last 4 games. I expect that to continue. Jacobs is just on a tear lately, and he's the third highest price point on the slate. So you save a little bit of money not going for A-Chain or Gibbs. So I like Jacobs this week.
Aaron, what do you think about Gibbs or Josh Jacobs?
Yeah, I don't mind Jacobs. He's been pretty reliable this year. I actually don't have him in my lineup, but I do have another running back.
Mistake.
Um yeah, we'll definitely see there. I mean, he is in my best ball league, so I'm pulling him in for that respect, but I'm actually paying up a little bit more. I'm going at 7,700 for Devon A-Chain against the Packers. So A-Chain is, he's kind of turned into being pretty reliable. We've seen with Tua back. I mean, he's eclipsed the 20-point mark 6 times this year with a 30-pointer in there too. But the thing I like about it is just game flow. I think Green Bay can keep up the heat as far as just putting points on the board too. So I think A-Chain's also just game script proof. But yeah, it's just a shown where actually we've seen a little bit of a decline with Tyreek Hill, and it's usually, that was your explosive player. But A-Chain, I think, is a guy I'm pretty comfortable with throwing in my lineup week in, week out.
I like both those calls. I have both players in my lineup this week, so I like both of them. HM was the guy I was going to point out, $7,700, a little bit expensive, but for the reason Aaron mentioned, guy's game script proved. In 5 of his last 6 games, he's recorded at least 4 receptions as well. So full point format here. I mean, I'm just going to lean into a guy that I know is going to be involved in what's probably going to be a pretty competitive game. So around a 3 point spread, according to the know-it-alls over in Vegas. So I'll put the bow on that category there. I got both players in my lineup, like Jacobs too, but I rolled with H-Chan as my bullish buy this week. Next, we talk about our two deep segment, which is where we go into our defenses that we like this week. Usually, we have a really big field to pick from, but just 6 games, it's a little bit tight. Ethan, what did you end up doing on the defensive side of things?
I went with the Dallas Cowboys at a price point of 3,100. Tommy Cutlets just isn't it. I think he's going to struggle against Dallas. DeVito was sacked 4 times against the Commanders, and I mean, we're just pressured a ton. The Giants' O line is awful. I think Micah Parsons and company is going to have a field day against the Giants. The Giants are 32nd in points per game with 14.8. I just think it's going to be a long day for Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants. So I thought the Cowboys were a pretty easy selection this week.
I thought so too. They were my call it as well, $3,100. Detroit was the only one more expensive at around $3,500. Couldn't end up doing that, but I stuck with Dallas as well. I think they're going to smash the Giants at home, and I like that spread too, them to cover. So, Aaron, what do you think about those two calls? Are you with us? Is it a clean sweep here, or did you go in a different
It's
direction?
not, but I love it. It's actually, it probably for the first time ever, if it was possible, I actually wouldn't mind having Dallas as your defense and maybe Giants as your flex because I think this is going to be a pretty ugly game with with DeVito and Rush where I actually went Giants to save about $300. I just really liked my lineup. I did want to have Dallas as my primary defense, but just kind of looking at other side of the ball, I know Rush has looked. He's had glimpses where I think really the game script has been just, hey, get the ball out fast. Don't give up anything too crazy. But he's had a few good games. But as far as the Giants go, they're the top defense on the slate as far as sacks on the year. They have 36 sacks. They're well above any other choice, including the Lions this week. So, um, I know that, regardless of the score, sacks will get you points in DFS. So from that standpoint, I just want to get safe sack points, but I do love the Dallas call too.
Ethan, any thoughts on Aaron's defensive call before we move on?
I mean, I'd rather sacrifice elsewhere and go with the Cowboys. I just think Cooper Rush has been playing some pretty good football, and I think the Cowboys are going to be on top of the Giants. The Giants can't stop the run. I think Rico Dowdle is going to have a pretty good day, and they're going to control this game. I don't think Cooper Rush is going to be forced to drop back as much as he has been in the last couple of weeks. So I think it's going to be a pretty safe game script for the Dallas Cowboys. It's at home, and so hopefully for Aaron's sake, the Giants can get some sacks. But I just think that Dallas is going to be too much in control. It's going to be a safe game script, like I said. So I would go in a different direction if I was Aaron.
Fair enough. We're going to round into our pick six category, which is where we talk about undervalued players that are going to pay off at a lower cost. Aaron, what direction are you going in when it comes to the cheaper guys?
So it's kind of funny how this guy's kind of dropped into this section. He's definitely under the 6,000 mark, but I'm going Jaden Reed. He's 5,700 this week. He was a name where we thought he'd be kind of in the DFS world be in the 8,000 price range. But I do like Jaden Reed this week against Miami, going back to that game. Same reason why I like Douglas in the Patriots last week. I think Reed is that guy. He'll have a good opportunity to get some yak. We saw that Miami does sag a little bit on defense, kind of uncovered that in last week's show. So I really think there's some great opportunity for Reed to get some nice chunk plays and use his athletic ability to get some go over the 100-yard mark. So I like Jaden Reed this week as my little bit more expensive pick six player.
None of us were Jaden Reed guys this offseason. That's for damn
Yep,
sure. But Ethan, do you like
that's
do
right.
you do you like the call here in week 12 or week 13?
I mean, Jane Reed obviously has a lot of upside week to week. I don't love the call at his price point just because Jordan Love. I mean, that Packers offense just spreads the ball out so much, so it's tough to kind of pinpoint if it's gonna be a Jane Reed week, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson if he can catch the ball, Tucker Kraft. I mean, Orange Jacobs gonna get another 30 carries. So I don't have Jane Reed in my lineup because I have Jacobs and I think Jacobs isn't gonna get a ton of work, but um. I mean, Jane Reed always provides a lot of upside. I just think at his price point and his matchup, I think I would go in a different direction.
I was between Jacobs and Reed in my flex spot actually, my final decision. Ended up going with Jacobs over Reed for some of those reasons. Just didn't love the matchup on this one, but they use Reed in a variety of ways, and it could pay off. You never know. Ethan, who is the guy that Aaron should have picked for his first pick six player?
The player that he should have picked for his first pick six player, price point of 5,500. I'm kind of taking a page out of the Aaron Downtown Brown playbook. I'm parlaying my defense with the running back Rico Dowdle. He's had 29 carries over the last two games. Zeke has only had 4 carries last week. And only played 12 snaps. It's the Rico Dowdle show. The Giants allow 5.2 yards per carry. Per game. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 5.2 yards um, per carry per game, and which is dead last in the NFL. And they allowed the 8th most PPR points to opposing backs. They've allowed 5 running back touchdowns in the last 3 games and allowed 110 rushing yards to running backs in 5 straight. As I said before, I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be in control. I think Rico Dowdle is going to have 20 plus carries in this one, and I think he's going to have a very good day.
Love that call. When I put this lineup together, the first thing I did was put Rico Dowdle in my lineup. So he was definitely one of the guys I wanted to highlight here for $5,500. And Well, the easy thing about these DraftKings lineups sometimes, guys, is like, we do a good job here giving you guys analysis and players that we like for different reasons and all that. But they do also give you the matchups on there that each player is going against and how that defense does against that particular position. There's not a lot of green out there this week, guys. I'm sure you guys noticed that too. There's not a ton of slam dunk plays. This was one of the only ones out there where you're like, okay, this guy's a starting caliber player. He's clearly the workhorse in his backfield, and it's going to be what's probably going to be a positive game script for a guy who's been getting the volume in his offense. So I wanted to go Rico Dowdle for 5,500. Just couldn't get away from that. Aaron, give me your thoughts on Dowdle, and then give me your second player.
Yeah, I don't mind Dowdle. I actually don't have him in my lineup, but I think we did call that out last week, as well, that, Giants, they give up yards on the ground, right? They have the highest missed tackle rate. So can't go wrong just playing a great matchup. Like I said, I think it's just going to be kind of an ugly game in general. Um, Dallas hasn't quite shown they have a run game the last few weeks. Even, like I said, you got a great matchup, so it's your kind of your chance to play it anyway. But yeah, I don't hate it, but I'm actually, for my next pick six player, I'm going with another wide receiver. With the Bears, I'm going 5,600 with DJ Moore. For 5,600. Just came off of another solid week. Six catches, 106. Keenan Allen was having a great game too, but DJ Moore kind of had that sneaky game and came down with a touchdown as well. Seven receptions the week before in week 11. Definitely looks like the Bears are getting more the ball a lot more. After that coordinator switch. Another thing I really like about this matchup, as we know, Detroit will definitely put points on the board. Chicago's gonna have to throw it. One quick little thing I liked here is DJ Moore's target share versus man defense is 24%, between him, Adunze, Allen, and Komet. Versus zone, it's only 19%. And Detroit is one of the top defenses in the league that plays man defense, which is not it's actually not very common in the league. They played about 41% of the time. Rest of NFL's average is about 20%. So, um, just like that little tidbit where, hey, they're going to play man, statistics show they're going to throw to Moore, and he's getting more involved in the offense. So I went more for 5,600.
I like that call. He's in my lineup too. He's not a guy I was going to highlight here. I also have Keenan Allen in my lineup too. So I have two Bears receivers in there. But the guy I wanted to talk about here is actually going to be the man throwing them the football this week. Reason I was able to get Devon Achane and Josh Jacobs into my lineup at high price points was because I ended up going cheap at quarterback with Caleb Williams for $5,300. And I know like Caleb Williams is this guy who catches a lot of heat out there because he was a super high profile pick. I mean, like he was for years now. We've known he's coming down the pike, and he's got a little bit of a flashy guy. So people want you to be good right away. And he's had some struggles, that's true. But like three of the last five games, he's done enough to win them those games. Go back to the Hail Mary that Jaden Daniels threw. Like Williams had a bad game, but at the end of that game, he went down, got them a touchdown to put them ahead. They should have won that game. 2 weeks ago against Green Bay, he got them in field goal range to win the game. Kick gets blocked, they lose. Last week, they're down 14 points. He comes back, erases that deficit, gets them into overtime. They had a chance to win that game too. I just think he's turning a corner as a player. Over 340 yards last week, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He's just a talented kid that's going to figure it out. And I think that coordinator change has really accelerated a little bit of his development. And they're going to be throwing the ball a lot in this one against a really good Detroit offense. I don't like them to win the game, and a little bit more coming on that later. But if I can cheap out a quarterback, get some other big name pieces in my lineup, I think Caleb can easily get us 20 points in a negative game script this week.
No, I like that call a lot. I think we all pretty much had the same mindset for some of our pick six players. I do think the Bears are gonna have to throw the ball a lot in a negative game script. So I do like the call with Williams. He was in my lineup, and I actually subbed him out last second. It looks like we all have Chicago Bears receivers. My second pick six player is a Chicago Bears receiver, but it's one we haven't mentioned yet. I'm going Rome Odunze. I know the opportunity that he's had thus far hasn't materialized into a lot of fantasy points, but as you guys just stated, I do like the matchup. Even though Detroit has a good defense, but teams are always down to Detroit. They're just forced to chuck the rock. I mean, so Detroit ranks 29th against receivers, and they allow the 25th most pass yards a game at 227.2, and that's not really a good indication of like the Lions being a bad secondary. Just the teams just have to chuck the ball like crazy, and I think Caleb Williams is going to drop back a ton in this one. Rome Odunze has had 10 targets the last 2 games, and hopefully, this is the game where kind of Odunze has a mini breakout. So I think we all have the same mindset here. Detroit fifth most PPR points to wide receivers this year. So um, I'm taking a shot at Rome Odunze at a price point of only $5,000.
Okay, well, it's kind of the same logic, so you can't knock it for sure. I think him and Allen are pretty much within $100 of each other. So
Yeah, Allen's 51.
yeah, so nice and cheap. Just kind of pick your flavor there. Rome's been running the snaps as well, over 80% of snaps for most of the most recent chunk of the season.
Well,
But let's
isn't
talk
Allen a
about
tight end now though? He's getting pretty
dude.
heavy.
Like I'm telling you, I texted you during, and this is rich coming from me of all people, but I'm looking at Keenan Allen out there running routes, and I'm like, holy shit, who's this Bears tight end that that's catching all these passes? And they say, oh, Keenan Allen comes down with another grab. I'm like, that's Keenan Allen. Like Keenan Allen was a rail when he was out in LA. Now he's been in the Midwest eating chili or something.
That's right.
He's putting on all this weight like crazy. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's gonna be the most athletic tight end of all time. But yeah, again, far be it for someone like me to bring that up on anyone else. But there we are. There we are. That's in the ether now. But okay, so let's keep going here. Let's get some parlays in there. Let's get our own chili cooking here with some spicy parlays that just like that, even easier than a DraftKings lineup. Put some money in your pocket. I know mine is the lowest amount of the three of us here, so I'll just toss mine out first. I'm going Cowboys -2.5, Lions -7, and the Packers on the money line. Mashing those three picks together, it comes out with plus 315 for you. So three extra money real quick if you want. Again, Cowboys -2.5, Lions -7, Packers money line. Someone tell me what they think about that and tell me why I didn't bet enough.
It's funny. I'm kind of with my hot take, ours can almost exist with each other with almost completely opposite because I noticed you kind of moved the spreads a little bit. So I don't mind it. The one that conflicts is the Packers money line because my hot take is it's a little spicy. It's actually um out of the day games, both away teams covering. So this is a kind of a tall ask for the Bears to cover 10 points. But they can step up as far as their defense is concerned. It could be I'm kind of hoping for them to cover the 10 points, but Bears to cover 10, Giants to cover 3.5 points, and I have the Miami money line, and that's actually plus 800. So I haven't been much of a spread guy this year. I've been more of the props. I want to go mainstream today, but I'll definitely throw some prop bets in our Discord as well. But that juicy little parlay will give you a plus 800 odds.
Juicy. I think I do like the call with Dallas -2.5. I believe you said Detroit -7. I mean, Detroit taking them on the spread has been money all year, but Miami has been playing some pretty good football. So picking the Packers scares me a little bit, but I mean, I feel like that's kind of a pick 'em game anyways. The Packers are at home, so I don't mind leaning that way. And Aaron, you have Miami on the money line, you said
I
in
do.
yours?
I do.
Okay,
I always
so
like one little thing. I always love taking the underdog as my very last bet because it makes it a lot more exciting to see if that one's gonna hit.
it leads to a lot more losses.
That's right. At least it
uh
gives you a little suspense.
yeah. So I guess I'll change the tune a little bit. I have a bunch of props here. So mine starts out with my bullish buy, Josh Jacobs, over 71.5. He's hit this in 5 straight. Jamison Williams over 47.5 receiving yards, and then Rico Dowdle over 60 rushing yards. And that gives you a plus 436. So I think these are all I mean, they're pretty much all locks. So you tell me if you agree.
The only thing, your only mistake there was not putting an anytime touchdown next to Rico
Yeah, I probably should. I would really juice it up.
Oh, juice it. Yep.
But hey, I'll take the plus 436. That's some decent return there.
Yeah, you'll forex your money. I mean, especially for those who, maybe it's been a tough gambling year for some people out there. You never know. Like, just take the forex, take the forex.
Yeah.
I wasn't mentioning any names, but like, take the forex if you can get it anywhere, folks. No matter how good you are gambling, forex.
You
is
guys have
forex.
some spare change? I gotta put some money on this.
It's the holiday season. Maybe someone can toss Ethan a few bucks to toss into his DraftKings account, but it's a fun time of year, folks. The home stretch of the season is coming. Redraft season's obviously in full swing, coming down to the end. But we are going to take a little bit of time in the near future, here to talk about the 2024 rookie class and talk about the just kind of like if the draft was what it was, consensus kind of settled in, and that's what a lot of drafts went on. But what we're going to give ourselves a do over here and say, knowing what we know right now with 12, 13 weeks of NFL data, what would we do in a redraft? So we'll redraft the 24 class in the next week or two, and we'll make sure we get that up there. Get back into the dynasty space, which I know we all love and is near and dear to our hearts. But again, the happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there. Please make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. And until next time, folks, peace.